All right, LPES. It is Friday morning. It is May, and we are celebrating Mental Health Awareness Month, which is such an exciting thing here at LPES. I told you that we were going to be having some special guests on this month who are all involved in the mental health field. And so we have one of those special guests coming up in just a little bit, one of our school psychologists here at LPES, Miss Calandrillo. So we're going to have an interview with her in a little bit. But before we get to that, I wanted to talk to you about a few different things. So first thing I wanted to chat with you about today. Last week, we kind of talked about what mental health is and how we can try and practice coping skills or things that we can do for ourselves to have good mental health or to help ourselves when we're having a tough day. Today, what I wanted to show you was a quick little video that's all about recognizing our emotions, kind of honoring our emotions, meaning that we are okay with whatever we're feeling. So, for example, if I'm feeling really sad or angry one day, I'm not sitting there beating myself up about it. I'm not sitting there getting frustrated that I'm feeling sad or angry. I'm kind of accepting that there are going to be days that I feel sad, or there are going to be moments that I feel angry or confused or whatever it might be. Jealous is another one that we've been talking about on these Friday feelings in the past couple of weeks. So I want to show you this video that helps us to kind of tune into what we're feeling and acknowledge what we're feeling and kind of try to make peace with whatever emotion it is that's going on. Our feelings play a huge part in our mental health and in the way that we feel, the way that we act, the way that we treat others. You're going to see in this video in a moment the girl that's doing it. I think it's nice because she's probably around 4th grade age, so it's cool to see someone who's just around your age doing a YouTube video like this. She's going to show you this almost like a feelings thermometer that she has. I want to point out 2 other feeling check-in things that we use here at LPES sometimes, especially here in my office, or if you come to one of the other counseling offices here, like with Miss Calandrillo, who you're going to see later, or Miss Viscuso. So you're going to see on my wall behind me, right up, oops, sorry, it's backwards because it's a mirror. Right over here, we have one of those. Oh my goodness, I can't draw a circle with my finger around it. We have one of those feeling charts. And so one way that we can check in with our feelings is to look at a chart like this. And it kind of reminds us of a bunch of different emotions that we might not even be thinking about or remembering in that moment. So that's one thing that we can do. Another thing that we can do is a chart like this one right here. So you can see all the different weather symbols that we have, starting with a sunny day right here at number 1 and going all the way down to number 10, which is a tornado kind of picture up there. So those kind of charts can also help us to recognize what they're feeling, what we're feeling. It's not telling the weather. It's not meant to be like a weather chart for outside, or like you use in kindergarten when you're talking about what's the weather like today and you put up the sunny sticker. It's not like that. This is for how we feel inside. So sometimes we use things like weather pictures or other things like that to kind of symbolize or to show what our emotions look like or feel like inside of our bodies. So I'm going to pass our Friday feeling video over to this girl from Rocket Kids, who I think does a great job of talking about emotions and might help you to understand a little bit more about your emotions and check in with them today as we get started. All right, I'll be right back.
Emotions. They tell us if we're feeling happy or sad. They let us know if we are angry or frightened. Okay, you already know this. So let me ask you a question. What are you feeling right now as you start to watch this video? Are you excited to learn something about yourself? Maybe you're distracted by something else. So how are you feeling right now? Is it even important? And how can we measure our emotions? Let's explore that on this episode of Rocket Kids. I'm Morgan, and let's get this started. Emotions are part of being human. We all have them, and they can change throughout our day. Sometimes our emotions are super strong, like when we get really, really mad. Wait, I have something right here that can help us see exactly what I mean. I'll be right back. This is my emotion intensity chart. This is how it works. Super strong is up here. Super mild is down here. So, We may be way up here when we are really, really mad or way super excited about something. Here, our emotions may be seen much more easily, like we may frown or even lash out if we are super mad. We may have a giant smile on our face and jump for joy when we are super excited. Down here, our emotions are what I call super mild, like when you're just relaxing quietly or reading a book. Here, we may not be showing anything like facial expressions and body language, so they may be harder to recognize, but they're still emotions. Maybe the intensity of your emotion is in between these two extremes. So that's my chart, and now that we know our emotions can land anywhere from here to here, let's take a quick look at emotions and what they really mean. Emotions let us know what we are feeling and help us know how to react. Remember when you were a baby? No? Me neither. But I have seen pictures. This is me as a baby. When I was a baby, I couldn't tell how I felt. So, what did I do? I would laugh, cry, or cuddle up with my mom. That's how I express my emotions. But as we grow up, we start to understand these emotions and can put them into words. Here are 3 important things we should know about emotions. 1. Emotions come and go. Most of us feel many different emotions throughout the day. Some last just a few seconds. Others might linger to become a mood. 2. There can be many emotions. They can be mild, intense, or somewhere in between. The intensity of an emotion can depend on the situation and on the person. 3. There are no good or bad emotions, but there are good and bad ways of expressing emotions. Learning how to express emotions in acceptable ways is a separate skill. This is called managing our emotions. Here's what we want to remember. We all have emotions. It's a part of who we are. But just like anything else in life, when it comes to emotions, practice makes perfect. Make it a point to notice all the emotions you're having and how it makes you feel. Remind yourself there are no good or bad emotions, but how we express our emotions is super important. So, how are you feeling now that you've watched this video? Maybe you can make your own emotion intensity chart and measure your emotions. Did you learn anything about emotions? Let us know down in the comments section. We would love to hear from you. That's the show. I'm Morgan, this is Rocket Kids, and remember to always be your best self.
Cool. So hopefully that helped you to check in with your emotions today, give you a better understanding of where your mental health is at today. Maybe you're feeling really good, rested, relaxed, ready for the weekend. Maybe you're feeling a little burnt out after this week. Maybe my 4th graders, you might be feeling a little burnt out after having to get through all those days of state testing today, this week rather. So it's okay. Whatever it is that you're feeling is perfectly all right. And that's a huge part of Mental Health Awareness Month too, is recognizing that whatever we're feeling is okay. I love when she said in that video saying there are no emotions that are good or bad. They just simply are. So here to talk a little bit more about mental health and to educate us on some things that we can all do for our mental health. I have to say, I learned a lot when we were doing this interview a little while ago, is the one and only Miss Calandrillo. So I'm going to pass it over to Miss Calandrillo and myself to learn a little bit more. All right. So I am so excited because, as I was saying, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, which is why you're all probably wearing green today. Little sneak peek, we're actually, Miss Calandrillo, you're prepared. You're wearing green. That works out well. I am not wearing a smidge of green. There's some green in my flowers, I guess. But you're all wearing green. We're recording this a day early, so it's actually Thursday still while we're here. But you guys are probably watching this on Friday, so you're wearing green for Mental Health Awareness Month, which is great. It's a great way to kind of bring it into our minds, make us really focus and think about this month and what it means. And if you remember, last week we had Miss Nazaro on with us, and we did a little interview with her about mental health. And today, I am so lucky to have Miss Calandrillo here with us. So
Thank
welcome.
you, Mrs. Heffler. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, awesome. Some of you might recognize Miss Calandrillo just from life, from being here. But from seeing her sometimes in the hallways or coming to her office or different spots around the school. Some of you might recognize her from being on Friday Feels. Because she was a guest star last year. Yeah.
Around the same time.
Yeah, for the month of May too. So it's kind of a nice tradition. It seemed like a really great way for all of you who don't know Miss Calandrillo to get to know her a little bit better. And the cool thing about Miss Calandrillo, I'm kind of stepping on your lines here a bit, Miss Calandrillo.
Go for it.
But the cool thing about her job is she's actually at both the elementary school and middle school. Yeah.
I am. I'm so lucky. So some of you guys that are in 4th grade and going on to 5th grade next year, you'll still see me. And for those of you that are still in the elementary school, I'll still be around as well. So I'm super lucky to get to work with everyone in the district. It's like the best part of my job.
Ah, that's so great. That's so great. So it's really nice. So our older kids, you kind of will have a familiar face up there already.
Exactly.
So, Miss Calandrillo, I think you know the deal with what we're doing this month.
I think I do.
Yeah, so we're kind of doing an interview style, almost like you're watching like one of those TV shows, like, well, I guess it's daytime TV, so you guys are probably at school and maybe too young, but almost like when, celebrities come on, so you're the celebrity today, and
I like that.
I get to interview you. So we're going to be talking about mental health. And first question I have for you is, last week I gave a definition for what mental health kind of means, but each person kind of has their own meaning behind it. So what does mental health mean to you?
Yeah. So for me, I feel like mental health is just really being kind to your mind. That's like one of the sayings I always say, and you're actually going to see me tomorrow, or I should say today. My shirt actually says that, so keep an eye out for that. But for me, it's really just taking care of our social, emotional well-being. I like to think of it as like a battery, right? Like when our phone or our iPad dies or loses its battery, we plug it in, right? And we recharge. So I feel like for me, mental health is sometimes recharging for ourselves, and that might be doing things that make us happy or, make us laugh to kind of feel better about things. So that's kind of how I think of mental health.
I love that.
Yeah.
Ooh, I really love that image of like it being like a battery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes our battery's really full and we don't need to pay as much attention to our mental health. But then sometimes when we notice it going down or, getting a little bit lower, that might be the time when we want to kind of like recharge a little bit more and give some more attention to it, because it's just as important as, like Miss Nazaro was saying last week, our physical health too. So
yeah,
I think that's like a perfect way to think of it. Like, just keep an eye on your like mental health battery.
Very cool. I love that. I love that image. So speaking of our mental health batteries, when your own starts to get a little low, what are some things you do for your own mental health to kind of recharge?
Yeah, so with the weather being nicer recently, I feel like for me, one of the best things is going outside. I'll go for a walk. I'll put in my headphones, put on some music, maybe a podcast that I like to listen to, and kind of just like clear my head. It's time for myself, just like me time, where I can kind of just, take a breath, think about what's going on in my life, reflect on like the good things and some of the things that are stressing me out. And it's just like a good time to like relax, get some sun, and things like that. So I find like going outside, getting some exercise is definitely really helpful. And then the other thing that I feel like really impacts my mental health a lot is sleep. So for me, sometimes when I hit the pillow at night, my mind, it just is really hard to shut off. So I'll be thinking of like all the things I have to do, or sometimes I'll be thinking of what was stressing me out today. And that can really then impact me getting a good night's sleep. So a trick that I started using was I have a little journal on my nightstand right next to me. And when I'm having some of these thoughts, I just jot them down and kind of like release all of those negative thoughts that I'm having. And then I replace them with some like positive affirmations. That way, when I'm going to bed, I clear my mind of all those negative thoughts to try and get myself a good night's sleep, because then the next morning I don't want to wake up feeling a little groggy,
Yeah. Oh, Miss Calandrillo, what a great technique to share with our students as something that they can actually use and do. I know quite a few kids sometimes have trouble sleeping, and
it can be tough.
Yeah, it definitely can. And sleep is so important, especially when we're talking about good mental health, like having quality sleep. So I love that idea of writing down, you can have a journal, Post-its, notepad, whatever it might be.
Exactly.
And just kind of getting
all out.
Thoughts out, yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that. You have some great answers
Thank you,
today.
Mrs.
I love this. All right, so let's talk about your role in the mental health field. So
awesome.
I know you work at our school. Tell our students, our listeners here, the viewers at home, what your role is.
Yeah, so for those of you who do know me, you kind of might know what my role is already. For those that you don't know me as well, a lot of times I'll explain it like I'm similar to really what Mrs. Heffler does. So my title in the school, I'm called a school psychologist. And really all that means is I kind of think of myself as like a teacher of feelings. So like for me, the most important thing in my role is really just to make sure that our students feel like they have a safe space to really learn about their feelings and learn strategies to kind of cope with things when they're feeling a little bit down or frustrated. So just giving you strategies to make good choices in school so that when you do come to school, you're feeling happy and successful in what you're doing here on a day-to-day. So my office is always an open space. It's a safe, non-judgmental zone. It's somewhere where we talk about some really serious stuff, and then other times where we have a little bit of fun. So, I like it. It's just like the best of both worlds.
Very cool. Oh, I forgot to say when we were kind of kicking things off too, we are actually in Miss Calandrello's office today.
So you might, for those of you who have been in here before, you might like recognize I have a few little posters on the wall and things like that. And Mrs. Heffler and I are actually neighbors. So if you've been to Mrs. Heffler's office, you've probably passed mine then.
Yeah, we're very close to each other, which is so nice.
Yes.
But I thought it would be cool to come into Miss Calandrello's office so you all get to see a little bit of a change of scenery, and we can see the space that she works in. Yeah. So very cool. All right, last question for you.
I'm ready.
This one's a little tough one.
Yes.
But I love this question. So what made you want to go into mental health? What made you want to become a school psychologist?
Yeah. So I feel like there's a lot of things that went into it. For those of you, some of you might actually know that my mom, Mrs. Calandrello, used to be a teacher here at the school. So some of you younger kiddos, you might not know that, but school has always been like a really big part of my life. My mom was a teacher. I always personally really loved coming to school. So when I got older, I kind of thought to myself, how can I make sure that other students and other kids had the same type of experience I had in school, which was a really great one. So I thought I want to be involved in working with kids in some way. And I felt like feelings and emotions was always such a big part for me. I always had some really like safe teachers to talk to who like when I went to school, and I wanted to be that person for someone, and I just wasn't sure in what capacity. And then I kind of got involved in the mental health field and realized that was something that I really like felt passionate about. So I think a lot of it was really just like me growing up and loving school and wanting to kind of pass that, feeling along to other kids. And for those of you who don't really necessarily always like school, that's okay too. Like that's kind of what Mrs. Heffler and I are here for, is to kind of work through some of those days that might not be as good, because it's easy to say like every day is going to be really great, but even as adults, me and Mrs. Heffler have bad days. Your mom and your dad might have bad days. Brothers and sisters might have bad days. So it's okay to talk about those bad days and know that like we're here as resources for that. So I guess that's kind of like what brought me into all of this.
That's great.
And I feel like on that note too, when I'm thinking about the first question about what mental health like means to me too, like I want everyone to know that everyone has mental health. So just like I was saying before, kids, teens, even adults. So it might seem like maybe like when you're grown up, these are things that don't matter as much anymore, but it matters for all ages. It doesn't matter what you're going through or how old you are or how experienced or wise you think you might be. Mental health's important for everyone. So
yeah. That's a great message.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks, Miss
Heffler.
Calandrillo.
Oh, it was fun. I feel honored to have been on Friday Feels
Oh,
again.
sure. Please. Well, you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I loved hearing all your answers today. And I just want to say that something that helps with my mental health, that helps me to recharge sometimes, is having someone like you in our building who I know I can turn to. If I'm facing a problem, I don't know what to do. Sometimes even as grown-ups, we need help figuring it out. And Ms. Calandrillo, you're a great resource of that for me. So I appreciate everything you do for our students and for our staff and for just being such a great coworker in that sense.
Thank you, Mrs. Heffler. Same to you. Same to you.
We'll come back again.
All right.
Soon. And everybody else. So, Ms. Calandrillo, do you know my sign-off phrase for Friday Feelings?
I do.
Yeah?
Yes.
Do you want to say it?
Can we say it together?
Okay, let's do it. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Stay kind. All right, LPES. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.